Welcome back everybody, Matty here, and today we have a new video talking about dumbbells versus barbells, the pros and cons, and how you can incorporate both of these into your training regardless of what your goals are. And we're going to keep this quick, simple, and easy to understand, starting with the most obvious but the most important thing of all. They're different movements. So for the barbell, you have a bilateral movement, meaning that both limbs are working in unison to move a specific load. Let's take, for instance, the barbell bench press. Both of your hands are fixated on one bar and they're working together to press the weight. Where you have the opposite with dumbbells. You have isolateral and you have unilateral. So isolateral would mean, let's say you have one hand on each dumbbell, you would perform the right side and then the left side. If you're doing a shoulder press, the right side and then the left side. Whereas a unilateral, you would still be using dumbbells but performing them at the same time. So curling like that or pressing like that. So that takes care of all the laterals. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into talking about the pros and cons, starting with dumbbells. The pros: greater range of motion. With a dumbbell, you have a greater range of motion. If you're doing a barbell bench press, once that bar hits your chest, that's as low as you can go. With a dumbbell, there is no bar here, so it will allow a greater stretch in your pecs. If you're doing a shoulder press, you can get a greater range of motion here in your shoulder. If you're doing a dumbbell curl on an incline bench, you can bring that arm behind your back and really get a nice stretch in your biceps, where you can't do that with a barbell. If you're doing a barbell curl, once it hits your thighs, that's as far back as you can go. So there is a lot of benefits as far as range of motion goes by using dumbbells over barbells. For a lot of lifters, the dumbbells offer a more natural movement, and I see this a lot in beginners. They're intimidated by the barbell. They're not sure how wide to grip or how narrow to grip. They can't rotate their wrists inward or outward. It's harder for them to tuck their elbows when they're all fixated on one bar. But if you give them dumbbells, it allows them a lot more freedom with the movement and the exercise. Dumbbells can help prevent or even fix muscular and strength imbalances, which are oftentimes caused by neglecting to do dumbbell work and doing too many bilateral movements. So let's take, for instance, the most simple one, a barbell curl. You might already know that your right arm is stronger than your left arm. So if you're doing a barbell curl, it's very possible that your right arm is taking 60% of that weight, where the left arm is only taking 40%, and what you're doing is you're furthering that strength or muscular imbalance. This can be corrected by moving over to dumbbells and doing isolation work, so focusing on that weaker or that smaller muscle and allowing it to catch up to that bigger or stronger muscle. And lastly, the dumbbells will work stabilizing muscles, which is not only good for your muscular system, but your nervous system as well. So you're not only fixated on one bar path like a barbell bench press, which is really just up and down, and that plane of motion stays pretty consistent. Whereas with dumbbells, this arm might end up back here, this one might end up over here. You might start coming out as you bench here. So you have to be able to maintain a lot more balance and control when using dumbbells. But that's not to say that we hate the barbell. So we're gonna move over to this side of the board and show some love to the barbell, starting off with the fact that it's easier to progress. Progressive overload is easier with a barbell because you can add smaller increments of weights. In most gyms that you go to, at least here in the United States, dumbbells usually go up by 5-pound increments, especially when you pass that 8, 10, and 12 mark. So you go from 15 to 20 pounds to 25 to 30, and adding 5 pounds per side to a lift is a lot. That's a PR for a lot of people, especially on something like a bench, a squat, a deadlift. If you're adding 10 pounds every single time you make progress, that's a huge jump. So with the barbell, oftentimes you have 2.5-pound plates. So you can make 5-pound jumps instead of using a dumbbell and making an overall of 10-pound jumps. Next up, easier to set up. So oftentimes with a barbell bench press, you're able to really get yourself tight, get those shoulder blades back and down, get that arch in your lower back, get tight, and then press the weight. It could be a lot more awkward when you're using a dumbbell, especially when you get into those heavier weights, to kick those weights back and try and get into position while stabilizing the weight. So that is the benefit to using a barbell, is that it's racked in position for you, and you just have to get set up and then unrack it and start pressing. Whereas again, the setup for a dumbbell can be quite confusing when the weight starts to get heavy, especially if you don't have a spotter to help get you into position. The next thing is pretty obvious. The squat, bench, dead, and overhead press is oftentimes better performed with a barbell, especially if you're into powerlifting and gaining overall strength. So you can squat with dumbbells. It's more difficult. You could do goblet squats. You could do variations of deadlifts with dumbbells. But if your main focus is power and strength and powerlifting, then obviously the barbell is going to be a bit more practical for you. You know, if you're squatting 300 pounds, holding 150 pound dumbbells like this and trying to squat probably won't be too comfortable. So the barbell offers a lot more comfort in those lifts. And the last thing here applies for both. Barbells can be safer, but dumbbells can also be safer. So with dumbbells, they're safer in the sense where if you don't have a spotter with you and you're approaching failure and you need to ditch those weights, it's a lot easier to just throw those dumbbells than if you don't have a spotter on the barbell bench and you didn't set up the safety rack. That thing's probably going to crush you if you hit failure. So the barbell can be safe in some ways if you set it up properly, if you have a spotter, and the dumbbells can be safer if you don't have a spotter and you need to ditch those weights as you approach failure. So as you can see, there are benefits to both. There are pros and cons to using dumbbells and barbells. So which should you use in your training? I think the answer is pretty clear. You should use a variation of both of them. And depending on your goals, you could prioritize one over the other. They will both allow you to gain muscle, gain size, gain strength, gain power. You don't have to only choose one or the other. And I think my camera's about to die soon, so I'm going to end this video off here. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this gave you guys some insight into how you can use dumbbells and barbells, the pros and cons of using both. And if you enjoyed an informative video like this, please don't forget to click that thumbs up button. And if you would like to see more of these in the future, just leave a comment down below and I'd be more than happy to do that. So thanks again, guys, and we'll talk to you all in the next video. Welcome to the outro screen where we make things happen. In case you missed a previous video, it's playing right there for you. You can click it and it will open up in a new window. If you'd like to join my free VIP list or apply for online coaching, you could do so by clicking either of those boxes. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so before you go by clicking that subscribe button. So thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next video.